Okay, so now I've noticed that my last message rattled some feathers. So since my last message rattled a little bit of feathers, I'm going to go further into it. Okay? Well, actually, you know what? Not necessarily. Not exactly. Okay? The title of this message is Influence the Demon Seed. Okay? Influence the Demon Seed. That's the title of this message. Now, if you are a singer or a rapper, a black entertainer, now why am I speaking to my black entertainers? Okay? Once again, because I love y'all. That's why. Okay? This is not, you all know that I'm famous for, now, first of all, I have emotions. Okay? Why? Because I'm human. Okay? There are people that call me uh, evil because they think that I don't care about anything. And that's very false. That's very, very, very false. Okay? That's not even the tip of the iceberg. I care about a lot of things. Not only do I care about a lot of things, I got a lot of love for black folks. Okay? I got a lot of love for black folks. So now, I want everybody to understand something. So once again, the title of this message is Influence the Demon Seed. And I'm kind of picking up where I left off with um, our rappers in the last um, lesson that I made. Okay? Now, I got to do it tonight. Why? It's not Wednesday. But if I don't do it right now, I know it's late. But if I don't do it now, I'm not going to be able to get to it tomorrow. I'm telling you that right now. Okay? I've already did, you know, I see what tomorrow looks like for me. There's no way in the world I'm going to be able to do it tomorrow. Okay? So you got to take it now. If it's late, you don't want to watch it now. Certainly at this time of night, many of you have better things to do than to watch me at this time of night. So if you don't want to watch it tonight, or if you don't want to watch it, you know, hell, it beats me. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever, whatever. But, you know, if it's too late for you, watch it tomorrow. Okay? But once again, the title of this message is Influence the Demon Seed. All right? Influence the Demon Seed. Now, first, I just want to say some things. Okay? I just want to say some things. All right? God is a man of war. Okay? That's a scripture in the Bible. Okay? Book of Exodus, I believe it's chapter 15, verse 3. I want to make sure. Elohim, it's either Exodus chapter 15, verse 3, or Exodus chapter 3, verse 15. I believe it's either Exodus 3:15 or Exodus 15:3. Pick your poison. Elohim is a man of war. Okay? Now, I want to use that word man. Okay? Because a lot of people, they want to take Elohim, right? Many of you want to take Elohim, right? And put him in a position of this spiritual being only, right? Because we're also spiritual beings, right? But we also have a glory. We also have a flesh, right? So, I just wanted everybody to understand that. Why? Because, like I always say, there's always a method to my madness, right? Now, this is going to be volume 1 to this message here, okay? I'm going to give you volume 2. I don't think I'm going to give you volume 2 Sunday, but I am going to give you volume 2 next week, all right? because it's a little trick to some of these things here. Now, influence, the demon seed. I want everybody to understand something, okay? Now, mainly the circumcision is going to understand what I'm talking about here, all right? And I'm sorry if you're the uncircumcised, meaning the non-believers, or if you're just somebody who's absolutely ungodly, tuning in because you hate me and you despise me and you want to slander me or whatever the case. But I got to tell you right now that there's two types of seeds in this world, okay? You have the seed of the righteous, which is the seed of Adam, okay? Then you have the seed, the demon seed, which is the seed of the wicked, which is the seed of Satan, okay? Now, there's a scripture I want you all to understand, right? All right. I want to go to Matthew chapter 28, okay? Let's go to Matthew chapter 28, all right? I wonder if I got some rum over there. That's a lot of light over there. Matthew chapter 28, okay? And it says, "Now after the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary," it kills me when they say that, "Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to look at the grave. And behold, a severe earthquake had occurred, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven." A severe earthquake had occurred, for an angel of Yahuwah ascended from heaven and came and rolled away the stone and sat upon it. And his appearance was like lightning, and his clothing as white as snow. The guards shook for fear of him and became like dead men. The angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Yahusha, who has been crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, just as he said. Come see the place where he was lying. Go quickly and tell his disciples that he was risen from the grave. And behold, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Behold, I have told you." And they left the tomb quickly, with fear and great joy, and ran to report it to the disciples. All right, so why did I read that? All right, well, not for the reason that many of you think, okay? So I read this here because these two specific angels, right, they were in the present state where they were like lightning, okay? Now, I need y'all to pay attention to what I'm saying here. I wanted to explain it this way. Instead of just going to the Old Testament or even some places in the New Testament and just picking out angels where they look like me and you, because they can choose to look like an ordinary person. In other words, Gabriel or Raphael, they can choose to resemble an ordinary black man. Now, they still look more gracious than us, even in their mortal looking form, right? Or even in their glory. Okay, because really, to be honest with you, it says here that they were appearing like lightning. So in other words, they were glowing basically, right? And that wasn't their actual glory. Okay, well, they were glorified, but my point that I'm making is, you black man, right, and you black woman, right, you are considered the glory of God. Why? Because we're all made in His image. Now, maybe I shouldn't have tried to make my point this way, but I wanted to for a reason. I wanted to be a little tricky, but I also wanted you all to kind of get the picture from a different perspective. So these two angels here, I believe there were two of them, and they were like lightning, right? Five, don't get it wrong, 5 fingers, 5 toes, 2 feet, 2 hands, eyes, nose, ears, right? A torso, 2 arms, fists and elbows, right? A chest, a back, right? And it's going to say here, so even though they appeared like lightning, I want you to pay attention to what it said, because it said that a severe earthquake had occurred, for an angel of Yahuwah descended from heaven and came and rolled away the stone, and he sat upon it. So he's here like a human man. He sat upon the stone, right? Okay, why? Because he got a backside just like the rest of us, right? So he rolled away the stone and he sat upon it. Now, even though the guards were terrified of these two angels, right? Right? The guards were terrified. But these two angels, so they must have looked at mighty, they looked at it in a way where it shook everybody, right? In other words, a couple of these cats, they probably pissed their pants, right? So now I want you to understand something, okay? So my point that I'm making is, even though they were in a glorified state, they probably stood 6, 7, 8 feet tall. Though they weren't looking average, they were in a powerful state, right? Now, I need you to understand something, right? They were still minions, servants of Yahusha. Now, when Yahusha was down here, he was down here sort of like an ordinary man for the most part. We can't get it twisted, because he wasn't completely ordinary. We all know that, right? But for the most part, he was, right? He was mortal. From the perspective of things, he was, okay? So he was able to feel pain, be hurt, harmed, all of those things. Why am I saying all of this? Because even though these two angels appeared in greater in stature, and when Christ was down here, he took himself a humble role and was relatively weak in stature. Now, he was probably stronger than a lot of us today, but the point is, he took himself, God humbled himself to a mortal man, is the point that I'm making. So these angels were obviously, the way they appeared, they were greater in stature than Christ was, as when he was a humble man walking about. Yet, Christ is their master. Now, I said that to say this, right? Satan, he's an angel, right? I mean, for the most part. I don't really like the word angel. I hate it, in fact, because it's a bastardized tongue, right? I despise the word angel, just like I despise the word holy, just like I despise the word Jesus, just like I despise the word. I don't really have too much against the word God, but for the most part, Satan is for the sake of the argument, so all of you can understand what I'm saying. Satan he's a cherub, right? He's actually a little higher than an angel. He's actually a cherub, but not they're not quite the same thing. But that's a different story, right? So Satan was the anointed cherub, right? He was extremely close to Christ, right? Until iniquity was found in his mind. Okay? Now, Satan had a mind, just like we have a mind. Okay? And it also says two specific things about Satan. One is he was very beautiful, and two, he was a musician. He was the chief musician, by the way, the chief musician of the Shamayim, the chief musician of heaven. Okay? Now, now there's a lot of speculations about what went on in the garden. Okay, I need that for light. There was a lot of speculations about what went on in the garden. Okay? And I'm not going to set in stone anything right now. All right? I have reason to believe one of two things. Okay? Either Satan had sex with Eve. I'm not saying that with any type of authority at all. Did you hear what I just said? I'm not saying that with any type of authority whatsoever. But I have reason to believe that, or what he... So, you can say what he gave her, right? So a lot of people, there's this westernized thing, okay? This westernized doctrine that goes on, that Eve was given an apple. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm letting you all know right now, that's fairy tale, it's bullshit. Eve was not given an apple. Now some people would like to say that the fruit on the alleged tree, because a tree can be an individual, a tree can be a person, according to the scriptures. In certain aspects of the scriptures, in certain places in the scriptures, trees are described as human beings, and I have reason to believe, I'm not saying this with authority, but I have reason to believe that some of the trees in the garden were other angels, or they were other men for that matter. Now, a lot of people would like to say that Adam was equal to Satan, or that Adam was equal to Michael, who is relatively the most powerful, one of the most powerful angels, right? But that's not necessarily true. Now, Adam certainly was a magnificent creature. Let's not let us not discredit him. Okay, he was much greater than us men are today. Okay, no matter a man's stature today, he was nothing compared to Adam. Okay, Adam had superhuman. Well, it wasn't. Today, if he were here today, it would be superhuman to our standards. Speed, superhuman strength. He would probably be about 9 or 10 feet tall, right? So he would be superior. Now, you have to understand something. The demon seed comes in two ways. It comes physical, meaning bloodline, and it also comes spiritual. Okay, which technically is spiritual, because if it's in the blood, it's spiritual. So you have a demon seed. Let's put it this way: you have a demon seed and you have a righteous seed. Okay, but so I said it right the first time. See, it is both a physical and a spiritual. But the physical, the bloodline, is much more dangerous. Why? Because it's DNA. Now, I want you all to understand something. Esau, okay, who is this wicked spirit, okay, he's a nation too, all right? But I'm not here to dwell on that right now, right? We're not going to dwell on that. Okay, he definitely is a nation, okay? But that's not even half of it, okay? Now, I want everybody to understand something. Let me go to a scripture here, okay? Before I do that, let's go to Psalms 8. Psalms 8. It's a very, very short psalm, and I'm still not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to read down to verse 5. Okay? Psalm chapter 8. To the chief musician upon Gittith, a psalm of David. O Master, O Master, O Yahuwah, our Master, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. Who has set thy glory above heavens? Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightest still the enemy and the avenger. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the work of thy fingers, the work of thy fingers. So the heavens are the work of God's fingers. That means God has fingers. The moon and the stars, which thou hast ordained. What is man, that thou art mindful of him, and the Son of Man, that thou visitest him? For thou hast made him a little lower, a little lower, a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. That man that he's referring to is Adam. Okay? It says, what is man, that thou art mindful of him, and the Son of Man, that thou visiteth him? For thou hast made him a little lower than the angels. So the first man was Adam. So Adam was made a little lower than the angels. So Adam was not as great as Michael. Now, and another thing, I'm just going to tell you right here, and crowned him with glory. Now, I have you all know that angels don't receive crowns. Only niggers receive crowns. Niggers that endure to the end. We're the only people that receive crowns, not anybody else. Excuse me, well, not angels. Okay? So I just wanted to let you know that Adam was a little lower than the angels. Now, you could look at that in two ways. I don't even feel like going to see the specifics. Could that mean just that he was equal to the angels and beneath the heavens, beneath the Shamayim, or not quite as great as the angels? Okay, I'm believing that that it actually means, if I use my common sense, I would say it means that he wasn't quite as powerful as the angels. Why? Because he had to eat, right? Apparently he had to move bowels and all of these things, right? He had to urinate, right? So he obviously wasn't an angel, because they don't have to do those things. Okay? Now, I want to say that Esau, I already said that. So the elite spend billions of dollars a year to desensitize and brainwash the Negroes. Satan attempts multiple schemes to prevent spiritual connection with the Most High. Now, a lot of people need to understand something, right? We all have something called a pineal gland. Okay, I'm sure many of you are aware of that. And the purpose of putting chloride in water and the purpose of giving us devastating foods is so that pineal gland, the chloride within the water and the ingredients in the food function as a mechanism to diminish the powers or to diminish the strength of your pineal gland. Now, your pineal gland, as many people would call it, they call it the third eye. Many Illuminati, many of you in the Illuminati, a lot of you people whom are rappers and actors and singers and movie stars and whatever the case, you know this very well. Okay? So that eye, the reason why they call themselves the Illuminati is because they are referencing themselves to the third eye. The third eye illuminates, and the third eye is the mechanism that links this realm to the other realm, to the spiritual realm. So the elite, the wicked, they need to diminish the strength of the pineal gland. That's the reason why people say we only use a specific percent of our brain, a very small percent of our brain. So what more could we be possibly capable of if we were capable of using at least, I'm not going to say all of our brain, because then we'd be like Adam. So imagine if the things that we've accomplished on this planet, mankind, the things that we've accomplished on this planet so far, right? Imagine if we could use, I'm not even going to say the full capacity, but half the capacity of our brain. Let alone, I've been told we've only used what? How much percent? A very low percent. I don't want to say any numbers, but I know it's low. It's a low percentage. I believe it might even be beneath 20%. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that we don't even use 20% of our brain. Okay? So, let us go well, I want to go to Genesis chapter 3. Okay? I want to go to Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3. And it reads, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. I will put, now, what is going on here? This is taking place after Satan seduced Eve. Now, I don't want to get into whether or not, I'm not saying with any authority whatsoever that Satan had sexual intercourse with Eve. I personally am not sure. Okay? Okay? But there's something you need to understand. Cain could not have been Adam's son. Why? because Adam was righteous. And there was nobody before Adam. He couldn't have transferred that DNA. Now, Adam wasn't perfect. Okay? I also have reason to believe that Yahusha gave Adam a woman previous to Eve. That's neither here nor there. I have reason to believe that. Adam wasn't satisfied. He wanted something that was more attractive. Adam had a wickedness. He wasn't perfect. Even though he was God on earth, he still had an iniquity. Adam. Was he the first man? Well, the word Adam means man. It means man, ruddy of the ground. That's what Adam means. We all are from the ground, created from the dirt of the ground. So Adam means man of the ground. I do believe that Adam was the first man. I do. The specific, his name is Adamas. Adam just means man. The actual man that had had children with Kaveh, Eve, his name is Adamas. But I'll be back.